This is what it sounds like when you start the MC20. Hey guys, today we have the 2023 Maserati MC20 here, and this is actually the second one that I've driven. I was able to drive the 2022. There aren't that many changes between 22 and 23. It still has the 3-liter twin-turbo Nettuno engine that gets 621 horsepower and 538 pound-feet of torque. It was totally built and designed in Modena, Italy at the Maserati Innovation Lab, and it can go from 0 to 60 in about 2.9 seconds. Maserati explicitly said that I am not allowed to test that out, so we're just gonna have to take their word for it. It has a top speed of 202 miles an hour. I'm gonna show you some of the cool things on the interior and some of the aerodynamics on the front part of the car, because Maserati spent a lot of time nailing those down. This one does have the best-in-class power-to-weight ratio at about 5.3 pounds per horsepower. It's got an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, and this is the Grigio Incognito color. I will show you around some of the wheels. There's 20-inch birdcage wheels, and then the cargo area, which is only 3.53 cubic feet of space. But I took it to Publix today, and it fit all the Publix subs that I needed to in there. There's a ton of carbon fiber on here that helps with that low weight, and there are some other cool things on the interior that I'll show you, so let's take a look. Maserati spent over 2,000 man-hours trying to make this MC20 as aerodynamic as possible. They actually split the car into 2 pieces. There's the upper part and the lower part. With the upper part, the air vents help on the bonnet and on the side help keep the engine air intake cool and help cool the intercooler. And on the lower part, the front air ducts have been optimized to ensure better air distribution across the radiators and across other parts of it. The floor is actually completely encased and has been the subject of a lot of analysis to help make it as aerodynamic and as efficient as possible. I swallowed a bug. Okay, back to the MC20. There are 3 versions of this. There's the coupe, the convertible, and then eventually there'll be an electric one, but they all use the same carbon fiber base, so that helped kind of make it easier for Maserati to make it just as good as possible so that they could use it on all 3 versions of the car. This one starts at $230K this year, but ours is more like $304,000, and I'll show you some of the upgrades that this one specifically has that make it a lot more expensive. So some of the upgrades that make this version of the Maserati MC20 a little more expensive include this carbon fiber rear spoiler. That's an extra $5,500. And then over here, these rear brakes are an extra $20K. They're ceramic Brembos, so that adds a lot of extra on there. The brake calipers that are painted red are another $1,200. And then if you come over here on the interior, there's a bunch of details that Maserati did that make this a little more expensive. There's some laser detailing on the seats. The heated front seats are an extra $500. There's a Trident stitched on the headrest, that's $900. The Sonos Faber sound system that you can see here is another $4K. And then there's an electronic limited slip diff, that's another $2,300. On the interior, if you want to take a look at the steering wheel and the central tunnel, there is a bunch of carbon fiber that they used all over the interior, and that was another $7,000 in upgrades. But then this whole exterior carbon fiber pack was another $39,000. So all of the carbon fiber that you see here on the door, on the front, on the back, that was an additional $39,000. That brings the total for this one up to $304K, $200. Not bad. All right, I'm gonna show you the engine and the cargo space. Okay, we got it. So back here, here's my bag. You can see how much space there is. There's only 3.53 cubic feet of space. So if you see here what we have, I mean, that's one single bag and a jacket. I'll take these out so you can get a better look at it. But it's really not a lot of space at all. I'm not sure that a single suitcase would fit there. Like, you're not putting a golf bag in here. I did get 3 grocery bags today, but that's about it. I did calculate that you can fit about 21 public subs in here, 12 inches, you know, like 12 by 3 by 3. The volume just isn't very big, but if you need to transport 21 and a half subs, go for it. Then this is the Nettuno engine. As you can see, it is the 3-liter twin turbo that was totally designed in Italy. It's very fast, it sounds very good, and it's very pretty. As you can see, it's back here, and they have this clear thing so you can stare at the engine all day if you want to without even opening the trunk. I did have some trouble with the plastic piece up here, as you can see, maybe just because it was so hot. It kept getting stuck, and I thought that I was going to break the plastic, so that was kind of scary. But otherwise, the engine is amazing. I mean, as you would expect. You can get a close-up of that bad boy. More carbon fiber, as you can see. I have no complaints about the engine. One of the cooler things about this car is that the doors open. They're butterfly doors. I mean, it's fun getting in and out of the car in a parking lot like this. It might not be for everyone, but it's certainly interesting. I mean, it's kind of fun, right? All right, so here is the interior of the MC20. There's not much to it, you know, it's just these 2 seats here. Here's the carbon fiber central tunnel. There is no like brake or gear selector here. Really, you have your brake over here, and then you have your drive mode, which is drive or manual, and then you have the reverse button. That's really it. This little knobby here lets you select your drive mode, and there is a single cup holder. It holds my emergency can of beans very well, but this isn't going to be the car for you to bring all of your drinks in. We're going to start it up so you can hear it, and I'll show you a little bit about the screens in here. So it does have a 10.25-inch fully digital display up here that gives you all of your drive information, your speed. It's telling me my doors are open right now. Gives you all your trip information. And then this is another 10.25-inch digital display. It has all kinds of stuff like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got navigation. It does have a rear view camera, and you can set it up and use all of your safety features here. It has stuff like lane keep assist and blind spot monitor. I don't think that they're on right now because I haven't really heard them at all, but the screen works very well, and I thought that it was very responsive. It also connected to my phone pretty immediately with Apple CarPlay, which isn't always the case. There's also a fully digital rear view mirror up here, and this is that drive selector that I was telling you about. It's kind of cool. It's got a bunch of drive modes. We've got sport mode, Corsa mode, which is probably going to be really loud, GT mode, and then there's a wet mode, which is nice, so it gives you a little more traction when it's raining out. But otherwise, there's a launch button here, your start-stop button is here, and there's a suspension button here that helps raise it up so that you can get in and out of your driveway like me, because I have a steep driveway. But otherwise, that is the interior of the MC20. My God. The bugs. Hold, please. Put on the brake? Yeah. All right, we're going for a ride. I need to adjust my seat. We are currently in GT mode. Which is what they call, I mean, you could call it comfort mode. Maserati said it's the most comfortable mode. It's probably the most comfortable you're gonna get in this bad boy. So the suspension is pretty soft, it's not so loud, and you're not gonna get like nearly as much power as you would in sport or Corsa mode. There's also, you can hear every single rock, every single acorn that's on the street when you're driving this thing, because there's just so much carbon fiber everywhere, and there's so much metal, and it's so low to the ground that it's like you can just feel everything, especially when you're in Corsa mode. They did a really good job with this car. It has an 8-speed automatic transmission. This button here says drive or manual, so if you don't want it in automatic mode, you can put it into manual and see how it does. But It's very loud, it's very fast. When you're doing a cold start in the driveway, my neighbors are probably like, what is she doing? And why is she our neighbor? And what is she driving? But that's fun. If you're a car person, there's nothing like waking up the whole neighborhood with the start of your Maserati. I've been trying not to do it too early. What I like about this fully digital cluster up here is that it shows you like how much you're stepping on the gas and how much you're stepping on the brake. So like right now, I am using 27% of the gas and 0% of the brake. It's helpful information. I'm getting 16.9 miles per gallon, which is interesting. I think that's a little over what they said. I think it was 15 in the city, and I've mostly done city driving this week with this guy. So they're not my favorite feature. Another thing that's been weird is, you can't see it here, but you'll see it in the other part of the video, there is a big plastic covering over the engine so that you can see the engine, and I understand its purpose, but there are like cutouts in it so that, you know, I suppose the engine can get some airflow and it won't just heat up the whole back area in the cargo section. But in the sun, they seem to be flexing in a weird way and it's getting caught. So every time I open it, it's almost like popping and getting stuck on itself while trying to open, and it just makes a really horrible sound that I don't like. So I don't know about that plastic back there. The other MC20 didn't do that, but I had it at a different time of year. So maybe it's just that it's getting so hot that it's like flexing in a weird way, but it's a scary sound. That's one thing I was writing about today with the overtaking and like getting up to highway speeds, even though I haven't been going on the highway very much. There's no problem overtaking cars in this thing. For the most part, unless you're seeing like a Plaid or a brand new Ferrari, you have more power and it's a lot faster. I think these people can see that I'm talking to my GoPro. Just talking to myself here, just chatting. The last MC20 I had was bright blue, and this one is a nice gray, like the color of my shirt. But I think that the blue was a little easier to steer clear of. So compared to the other Maseratis that I've driven, this one is obviously the most fun. So I know that a lot of people have a lot of feelings about Maserati in general. I don't know about the MC20, but there's always talk about the depreciation and they're not great quality. But thus far, I think I've driven every single Maserati that's in the lineup right now, including the two SUVs, the older MC20, and the Gran Turismo. And I just really haven't had that experience with it. I think that the build quality is really high quality. The materials used inside are top notch. It feels really great when you're driving it. It's fast, the engine sounds really good, and I just don't really agree with what people say about Maserati. I'm not buying the MC20, so I'm not positive about the depreciation rate, but really I think this is a high quality car and I would enjoy driving it every day. I think my biggest gripe would probably be the doors. Even though they look cool, they can be a pain to get in and out of. Even in our driveway, when we're trying to have two cars next to each other, it can be kind of hard to open them and not slam into someone else's mirror or something like that. But they look really cool, and if you own the 304,000 Maserati MC20, you probably have a bigger driveway than I do, so maybe that's not an issue with you. But overall, I think that the drive modes offer a lot of different ways that you can drive this. If you are driving it on a daily basis, you can keep it in the slow GT mode. If you want to have a little more fun with it, there's sport mode. And Corsa mode is always fun. They say that it's better for the track. It kind of lowers it, makes it louder, and makes it a little faster. But if you're trying to have a lot of fun while you're driving it, you can always throw it into Corsa mode. I think that the suspension lifter makes it a little easier to live with too, because if you're driving in somewhere with a bunch of potholes or you're trying to go in and out of the driveway, it does make it higher so you can get into the driveway without much issue. So overall, I am very impressed with MC20. I kind of always have been. And I think that if you have the opportunity to drive it, you definitely should. Don't take my word for it, but go buy an MC20, okay? All right, guys, thank you so much for watching our video about the MC20. If you have any questions or want to know anything else that I didn't really cover here, feel free to let me know. Shoot me an email and I'll try and answer that for you. But either way, thank you for watching and go buy an MC20, okay? Tell them I sent you.